Hey, yo, Schizo Jits here. UFC 296 fight week is finally here. Kobe Chaos Covington against Leon Rocky Edwards, headlining a freaking stacked card, top to bottom. Even the early prelims, we got a couple bangers in there. Andre Touchy Feely against Lucas Almeida, Alonzo Menafield against Dustin Jacobian, which should be a banger right off the bat. And that's just the early prelims. There's a few more fights in there. The main prelims, or the actual prelims, we got Casey O'Neill against Ariane Lipsky, which is, man, that's gonna get the blood pumping right there for sure. But I'm there. I'm not missing any of these fights. Cody Garbrandt, the return of Cody, former champion at bantamweight, going against Brian Kelleher, which should be a very good fight, good test right there. See if Cody could bounce back, get back in the winning streak going. Get his career back on track. He's had some tough fights, some tough losses. That should be a banger right there. Then we got Arena Aldana against Carol Rosa. So that's a fight where she's going to bounce back after getting a title fight loss. But that's a good bounce back fight for Aldana as well. Then Josh Emmett, who he was originally going to fight Giga Chikadze, but he got injured in training. So now Josh Emmett is going to fight Bryce Mitchell, that should be a banger right there. A fan favorite. Bryce Mitchell, he's a little out there, got his flat earth theories, conspiracy stuff, against Josh Emmett. Josh Emmett's trying to bounce back himself, get relevant again, and that's going to be a banger. That's going to be, anytime Josh Emmett fights, it's fireworks. He comes to bring it. Bryce Mitchell is going to be I would assume, a grappling heavy attack on this fight, which he's going to have to do. But Josh Emmett also has a wrestling background. Team alpha male, he's not going to be that easy to take down, and he has big time power. Way bigger power. He's got knockout power in everything he throws. Everything he throws with bad intentions. So I think I'm leaning Josh Emmett by TKO on this one. I do like Bryce Mitchell. He's good. He really is good, up and comer. Josh Emmett has had a couple of setbacks as of late, but he just has too big power, I think, and he's not going to be that easy to take down. I mean, Emmett, like I said, he's wrestling background. Tough as they come, tough as nails, hits like a truck. I mean, it's going to be a banger either way, but I'm leaning Emmett to take that fight. Probably a TKO, maybe a third round TKO. If not, then maybe we'll see. This is a good test for Bryce Mitchell to see where he's at. If he has that type of grappling pedigree that could take him to the top, Emmett's a great stepping stone. Not saying that he's a stepping stone like for up-and-coming fighters yet. He's not quite a gatekeeper. He's right there. He's always going to be in the mix because he has big power and puts on a lot of exciting fights. So he just jumped the line. He can jump the line to a great performance by him, something crazy. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with that. But I'm leaning Josh Emmett in that one. And the main card, I mean, to kick it off, we got Vicente Luque against Ian Gary. Gary's been in the news, him and his wife, with their her book and all this other stuff on how to, wag or like marry a rich guy type thing, or get an athlete. Like they've been in the MMA media they've been under the spotlight, I should say, under fire for like the last month or so. So big build up. So it could be Ian Gary's 12-0 undefeated, Luque 22-9-1. So this is like a big test for Ian Gary. He hasn't had a big name yet. Luque has fought a lot of tough guys. He's right there. He's always a few fights away himself. So this is a big test for both guys. We'll see what Vicente, he always comes with a lot of his stand-up ability is really good. You got Ian Gary, who's, we'll see how he's like a Conor. He's like a overgrown, taller Conor, the way he talks, the way everything, obviously not as sharp as good old Conor, but, he tries. So I'm leaning Ian Gary in that one, but I don't know. He could be distracted in this fight just because of all the stuff that's going on with his wife and all the controversy there, So that's something that could definitely affect him. And a lot of people, he's probably going to get it from all angles this whole week, especially the press conference before the fight. So, but I'm still going to lead Ian Gary. He's younger, hungrier. He's got that freaking confidence. And I'm leaning Gary. Then we got the return of Al Kukui, Tony Ferguson, coming off a loss against Bobby Green back in June, or July, I should say, against Patty the Batty. Was Patty the Fatty, now he's Patty the Daddy, the Dad Batty, and he's coming in. Patty Pimblett, who is 20-3 against El Cucuy, who's on like a 6-fight losing streak, I believe, 26-9. So, I mean, that's going to be a big test for Tony just to see where he's at. Also for Patty, this is his biggest name he's fought. So this is a huge test for Patty. If he could get past Tony Ferguson, that will put a cement his shot or just moving forward. You know what I mean? Like it'll give him more like higher ranked opponents in the near future. Just even though Tony has been on a downward spiral kind of, or a down, he's been trending downwards. I still feel that he's definitely still dangerous. He showed a lot in that Bobby Green fight before the eye poke and stuff like that. It was a pretty good fight, and he didn't gas or anything. He ended up getting taken out. He got put to sleep in Bobby Green, but he did show a lot in that fight that he still does have it. The thing is, I don't know. Patty's younger. I know the UFC is trying to build him up. He has a huge following in England, London, or wherever, Europe. So I mean, this is going to be an interesting fight. I mean, this is going to be a big test for Patty because Tony's good everywhere. He's rounded. He's unconventional, unorthodox, but he has a lot of miles on him, a lot of wars. And I don't know on this one. This is a really tough fight for me to call because obviously my heart goes with El Cucuy, with Tony. He's a fan favorite. But I think I'm leaning Patty either by a decision. I'm thinking by a decision. If he could just get takedowns and stay on top, I think he could do. I think he'll just edge out a decision. That's, I think, in a 3-rounder. Then you got Shavkat Rakhmonov against Wonder Boy Stephen Thompson. This is a great fight because when I went to UFC 291 in Utah, Thompson was going to fight, and then he pulled out, or his opponent missed weight, so he didn't fight. So now this is a makeup fight for that one, and this is a crazy matchup. Shavkat 17-0. I mean, just as dangerous on the feet as he is in the submission game. This is going to be a banger for 3 rounds. Stephen Thompson, obviously, the karate style, the sideways stance, a lot of side kicks, a lot of in and out, side-to-side movement, good head movement, and he's not that easy to submit either or take down or hold down. He's got a little pencil neck type thing going, not the easiest to choke. And it's going to be some, I think he's going to have to really be on his horse and move his legs a lot more. Throw a lot of side kicks, little range finders, stuff like that, just to keep Shavkat honest, or just keep him guessing. But I feel Shavkat, I mean, he showed his toughness, in his last few fights. I mean, yeah, this is going to be a good fight. But I got Shavkat. I'm going with Shavkat on this one. I'm thinking either a submission or even just a decision because it's a 3-rounder. Stephen Thompson's not very easy to finish. But he might. I think Shavkat has a little bit more power and he has a little bit more diverse striking. It's hard to say what Stephen Thompson. He's a karate freaking master. Was like 58-0, 57-0 in kickboxing before MMA. So I mean, he definitely is used to the striking game and the range. But I think Shavkat can mix it up a little more with the takedown game, submission threat, and just big power. And he could take a shot as well. He's not, So Stephen Thompson has shown that, Wonder Boy has shown that he is a dog in there too when he needs to be. I feel like Shavkat's going to edge him out either with some type of submission or just a decision, landing the harder shots, putting Wonder Boy in a little more danger than Thompson will do with him. And that's what I got with that one. Then we got the co-main, the return of Alexandra Pantoja after winning the bout off Brandon Moreno against another Brandon Royval. This is a rematch, which Pantoja won the first. And right now, I just feel like Pantoja is like on another level than most of the other flyweights. He's got really big power for that division, and I feel like that was the difference with the Brandon Moreno fight was the power, and not so much the pace. But he also has a great jiu-jitsu pedigree, and I just think overall, I think Pantoja is going to have too much power for him in a 5-rounder. I just feel like Pantoja is going to get the stop. I'm thinking third or fourth round, either by TKO or a submission. And I'm leading Pantoja to keep his belt on this one. And then that brings us to the main event, the last fight of the year for the UFC on one of the best cards of the year. And we got Kobe Chaos Covington against Leon Rocky Edwards, and which should be a banger. I mean, this matchup right here, I've been thinking a lot about because, definitely a big experience with Edwards against Usman. stuffing takedowns and being able to stay on his feet and actually taking Usman down and landing some damage there, finishing Usman with a head kick. The head kick dead in the second fight. Third fight was a little more convincing with Edwards, but also, Usman and Colby do have a different wrestling style. Like everyone thinks, okay, well, they're both wrestlers. They're both the same game plan. Well, Colby, they call him Chaos for a reason because he comes in and he brings an insane pace with wrestling and striking. Like he's throwing nonstop, everything in your face. He's mixing in combos with the wrestling, rinse, repeat. He'll take you down. You get back up, take you down again, just kind of keep smothering you. And I think as far as his wrestling style is different than Usman because Usman is more like, kind of like he'll get you up against the cage, land some elbows, some big shots there, some knees, drag you down, stuff like that. It's more like more of a control type, he's controlling you more than just, just taking you down like double legs or single legs or whatever. Like it's not so much about him being on top and ground and pounding. It's more about up against the cage and dragging you down. And I felt like Edwards was able to game plan for that a little bit better than he will against Colby Covington, because Colby Covington uses his chain wrestling a lot more. Like he's just constantly switching up his attacks. If you stop one takedown attack, he goes to the next one, and he's relentless with it, and he doesn't get tired. His cardio is so good. So it's like he could do that for 5 rounds. Look what he did with Robbie Lawler. This is years back. He hasn't fought in a while. But Robbie Lawler, he had like over 20 takedown attempts, over 500 strikes thrown attempted in that fight. So, that is a serious high output. I don't think he'll get that high of an output against Leon Edwards because on the feet, Edwards is definitely going to have the advantage there. A great kickboxer, obviously finishing power like what he did with Kamaru Usman. He did get rocked by Nate Diaz when they fought in the 5th round, and when Nate just kind of like pointed at him instead of jumping on him and trying to finish him. And I think Colby and Nate are a little similar on the feet. Not so much like I think Colby definitely has more attacks. He throws a lot of kicks, but I'm talking about just not so much power all the time and just kind of in your face. So I think, and there's a shot you don't see is the one that rocks you like what did with Nate Diaz. So I think that Colby, it's possible that he could catch Leon on the feet and hurt him with something he don't see just because he's throwing a lot of combinations. But I think he's going to, personally, what I think Colby's going to do is he's going to mix in the combos just to get the takedowns, just so he could mix in his wrestling. And he's not dumb. Like, he didn't really try to stand and bang with Jorge Masvidal. He did get cracked once in that fight, actually dropped to a knee for a second, smiled at him, and kept coming. But he basically 50-45 or 44 that fight because it was just rinse, repeat, take him down, smother him, just big brother him kind of thing. And I feel like Colby could do that to Edwards, but I also feel like the more this is on the feet, the more that Edwards can make those reads. And I don't know how Colby's chin will hold up, honestly, because, he got cracked a couple of times. He got against Usman, both fights. Then Masvidal kind of dropped him, or in the street. I guess he took injury there. I don't know how bad his injuries were there, but, because they kind of kept it under wraps a little bit. But he hasn't fought in 2 years, going on 2 years. So, there's a lot of ifs there with Colby. He's getting a little older. Is he going to be able to keep having that insane pace? And I think cardio is his gift. Like, he don't have big power at 170. He's not the biggest welterweight. He don't cut a lot of weight, 10, 15 pounds, whatever. So he's another guy I think if they had a 165-pound division, I think he'd be more suited for there. But, but he's still in great shape. Edwards is on the other spectrum of that. He's a big welterweight. Like, he's even talking about moving up to 185 and challenging for that bout if he gets past Colby. So this is a very tough fight to pick because we haven't seen much of Colby. I'm still leaning Colby. I'm thinking 55-45 type thing because of his wrestling is totally different than what Usman, style. So I think he's a little more relentless with it. Usman has more power on the feet, and he was able to, that's probably what made him think, like, I could just stand with Leon Edwards more just because he does have that game-changing power. I don't know if Colby has a game-changing power, but I feel like he'll outwork him more than anything. Like, I feel like if this fight ends early, I think after the 3rd round, the championship rounds, we're getting into that. I think that's more Colby's, that'd be more to Colby's advantage because he has the cardio and he could just keep wrestling like pretty much for the whole fight and mixing it up. And so I could see Colby winning a decision on this. It could be a very close, like 3-2 decision, something like that. But I could also see Leon Edwards hurting Colby possibly getting a 10-8 or doing some serious damage and getting the finish on the feet. I could see that. Like I said, after the third round, I feel like that means probably Kobe is implementing his game plan with the wrestling and on the feet, just, outworking and outpacing Edwards, not giving him too much room to operate, putting him up against the cage, constantly just keeping him on the back foot and defensive. And so for that, I'm leaning Kobe by a decision, unanimous decision, split decision, whatever. But and he'll be the new champion. That's what I'm thinking. But we'll see. I mean, these fights are hard to tell. I'll be in Vegas for this one. Taking my son for his birthday. We're going. We got good seats. I can't wait. UFC 296, going to be a banger. One of the best cards of the year, if not the best. And yeah, I can't wait. Let me know what you guys think. Like, subscribe. Who you guys got in the two mains? Kobe, Edwards, Pantoja, and Royval. I mean, I got Kobe and Pantoja. That's who I'm taking. Let me know. That's all.